Welcome to the Chase MedSearch podcast, the place where we dive deep into the medical device sales industry by discussing the current trends, timeless philosophies, and amazing experiences that shape our niche of the industry. Join me, Jordan Chase, on a guided tour as I speak with established sales leaders and professionals as they share stories that will help you get in, stay in, and thrive in your medical device sales career. Let's start the show.
Riding a bike, walking up the stairs, shooting a basketball, dribbling a soccer ball. These are not normally activities that most of us associate with spinal cord injured patients or cerebral palsy patients. However, my guest today, Dr. Yi-Kai Lo, has invented a product that is allowing these patients to participate in activities that they have never been able to participate in before. His product has been featured on Fox News and numerous other media outlets, and I'm excited to have him as a guest today. Dr. Lo, welcome to the Chase MedSearch podcast.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be on this podcast today. Yeah, I'm really glad that I can be here and to speak with you and kind of share with you some of our thoughts.
Yes, that's great. And it is excellent having you on here. Tell our audience about your early beginnings. You're from that most brave nation of Taiwan, correct?
Yes, I was born and raised in Taiwan. So I came to the US in the year of 2009 to pursue my PhD degree. And then after being in the school for probably 5, 6, 7 years, and then I started to have an idea to form my company to translate my academic research into a product that can be really benefit and help the people who need this technology to improve their quality of life.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. How did you originally get interested in electrical engineering? And then what led you into the field of bioengineering?
And that's a good question. So, in Taiwan, semiconductor and the technology has been very popular during the past 2, 3, or 4 decades. So in Taiwan, everyone's top priority is to study electronics engineering. So it's kind of the beginning for why I kind of stepped into the field of electrical engineering. And probably 2 decades ago, while I was there in Taiwan, so my major is, as you know, electrical engineering. I was fascinated by how we can make these tiny transistor circuitries to build a system and how we can use it to do computations. But after, I would say after staying in this field for more than 6 years, one day I was asking myself, what else can I do? Should I still keep focusing on the tiny 3x4 millimeter or 5x5 millimeter microelectronics? Probably no. I want to do something that has kind of can contribute, make a more, I would say, I should not say more contribution, but something that the outcome is more tangible. I want to see something that I developed can really help the people. Then I start to think, should I stay in this field or should I go to build a system, build a product that can help the patients? And that's kind of why I decided to go to the US and find, to study in biomedical engineering that can kind of utilize what I learned as an electrical engineer and use the knowledge to build a product.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So you've got an entrepreneurial spirit about yourself. You've obviously been a researcher and an engineer and a scientist and then turned into this innovator. Where did that entrepreneurial spirit come from? Because many people would have been just happy and very satisfied in the career you were in.
So I remember that the year in 2014, the year that I'm about to graduate to get my PhD, I was thinking, whether I should pursue academic job or I should, form a company and to enter this entrepreneurial space. I think one part of the decision-making process is heavily influenced by my parents. They are both entrepreneurs, and I do enjoy seeing how, I would say struggle a little bit, but also see that how the achievement that they have done. So that kind of very inspiring to me. And my mom always told me that try to take the challenge path, don't take the easy one. So at that time, I think that pursuing this entrepreneurial route will be more challenging and probably more interesting as well. That's why I make the decision.
That's fantastic. So some motherly advice to take the challenging route, I heard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Spinal cord injury is obviously a terrible condition when people have it. How did you first become aware of spinal cord injured patients or folks that had this debilitating condition? And then how did that marriage of what your knowledge was kind of come together?
Let me take one step back. I think in the research I did for my graduate school, actually in the very beginning, I was now working on spinal cord injury. The first project that I worked on was retina implant. Mm-hmm. It's another technology to help the blind people to restore their vision so they can see the light, they can see the outside world.
Right.
And that's the first project what I was working on, and this is a 10-year project. So I was lucky enough to work with my PhD advisor, who was the inventor of the retina implant. So I kind of work on a long-term 5 or 10 years project to develop the tiny device that can be placed inside the eyeball so that the patient will wear a glass, and there's a camera mounted on the glass. The camera will take the external outside image, do downsampling and grayscale, and then the device will stimulate the retina for the patient to see. And then in 2012 or 2013, that was the last year of this project. And then we were thinking about how, since we have to build a very sophisticated implantable system, what should we do that we can use the same technology to retarget different applications? So we work on brain-computer interface, we work on vagus nerve stimulation, we also work on the digestive system, and also work on spinal cord stimulation. At that time, we have a collaborator at UCLA. So instead of starting from human research, actually I started from animal study. So I kind of built a tiny device to do animal study, to do rats with spinal cord injury model, and use our technology to see how we can help the animal regain their motility, like walking. And that's where we started. And then we start to get involved into some more human study at UCLA. And then we start to think about how we can translate our technology for human use. One of the interesting part that I have learned is we work with a lot of neuroscientists, a lot of doctors, or a lot of physiologists, and the way that they perceive the, I would say, scientific problem, or they perceive the issue that they are trying to resolve is quite different from us as engineers. And we were lucky enough that we kind of learned engineering and learned about neuroscience. So I kind of know the terminology and know the mechanism behind that. That provides a lot of insight that we can develop by using the engineering skill we learn to help solve the problem in the real world. And that's where and when everything began.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And you co-founded a company called Aneuvo.
That's correct.
Okay. And its mission is to develop and bring market advanced technologies and therapies to help patients with diseases and injuries that have not responded to conventional medical approaches, dramatically improving their quality of life. Obviously, your flagship product, your first product, I think, is Exostim, if I'm right about that. But I think you have ideas for other applications as well and other disease states. Am I right about that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. So Exostim is our flagship product and also the first product we have developed since a few years ago. So Exostim, as you might be aware of already, we are first targeting a spinal cord injury, trying to use Exostim to help this paralyzed patient to regain their motor functions. And in the meantime, we are also trying to expand its indication. So what we've been working on since last year is we're trying to see whether we can also use Exostim to treat other movement disorders. One of the example is pediatric cerebral palsy. So running a preliminary feasibility study to evaluate whether we can use Exostim to treat CP as well. But of course, there are other indications that we are working on, but are still in the proof of concept stage. But in addition to Exostim, actually in Aneuvo, we build a platform technology. Exostim just one of them. We build the algorithm, we build the sensor, we build our cloud server, we build our own electronics. So what really differentiates Aneuvo from other companies is we are not just targeting one single product. We have the platform to support a pipeline of products. And those products can target different indications. Movement disorder is one of them. And in the meantime, we are also interested in digestive diseases. That's why we're also working on some digestive bioelectronics to help resolve some of the most challenging issues in digestive tract.
It's an exciting field. I've spent a lot of time 25 years on the other side in terms of the implantable technologies in the neuromodulation space, and seeing those leveraged from chronic pain to deep brain stimulation to urinary incontinence to sleep, all sorts of areas. But you're approaching it more from an external stimulation standpoint.
Right.
Interesting. You launched your first multi-center randomized controlled pivotal trial in 2023, where you were looking to improve and restore motor function for people with paralysis due to spinal cord injury. Can you share any of the results of the trial? Is it still going into 2024, or have you wrapped it up?
The study is ongoing. It's a randomized, first large-scale randomized control trial to evaluate product for treating spinal injury, and this is a double-blind study. So I cannot reveal too much of the information.
Sure.
Even I don't know. I don't know too. But I know that everything goes well so far. And then we are still actively recruiting patients to join our clinical trial.
Great.
And I want to know if any of the audience listening to this podcast is interested, please go to our website, aneuvo.com, so to find more information about our clinical study. It's called Aspire Study. So if you have any friends or people you know who might be interested to enroll to participate in our study, please reach out to us.
Yeah, I was actually talking to a friend last night. His first name's Chase, and he has cerebral palsy. And so I wanted him to watch the news story that I found on your website from Fox and look at it and give me his thoughts on it. So I'll report back or have him contact the company.
Okay.
It's exciting work. In terms of the mechanism of action, can you share with us exactly how this works? And is the patient population you're targeting with spinal cord injury only cerebral palsy patients, or are there other folks? I had an uncle who was a quadriplegic, for instance, and he had broken his neck as a young man diving into a lake. Would that be a non-target population? Give us a little bit of an idea of who you're looking for and how the device works.
Yeah. So I will start from how the device works. So as you might know already, for people with spinal cord injury, the brain descending command cannot pass below the lesion, so that the patient might lose their motor functions, upper limb or lower limb, or they might lose their autonomic function or even bowel and bladder. So the way that how SSTIM works is we provide stimulation to the spinal cord. So the hypothesis for how this electrical stimulation works is that this electrical stimulation can modulate the physiological state of the spinal cord or the spinal circuitries, so that the weak descending brain command can pass down the lesion, so the patient can regain their motor functions. This is how electrical transcutaneous spinal cord stimulation works. And regarding how SSTIM works, SSTIM is unique in a way that instead of just having one or two electrodes to do constant stimulation, we design and manufacture a very unique, flexible multi-electrode array. You can think of SSTIM as more like an implant, but as an external device. We put the electrode array on the neck and stimulate different locations to activate different spinal nerves for different function for the paralyzed patient.
Interesting. So is the device always on? Are there intermittent periods of stimulation? How does that work? Because in one of the videos I saw that is just marvelous that a cerebral palsy patient was walking up the stairs. I mean, amazing.
Yeah. So I think for walking, stimulation probably needs to be constantly on. Since the walking, right, the patient needs to use his strength to support his body weight. So I would say that necessary to turn the device on for walking, but especially for patients with upper limb paralysis, we are thinking that you can think that SSTIM is a charger, so the patient can use SSTIM to do stimulation like 30 minutes or an hour per day to charge themselves, so that they can improve their motor function gradually. And we're hoping that this motor function can be preserved. But currently, we don't have the long-term data to support that, how long the improvement can be preserved based on a pilot study. But based on what we have learned so far, we kind of think that the patient probably need to use SSTIM every day.
SSTIM every day.
Right.
And is it 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or?
Yes, but for our current Aspire trial that is focusing on upper limb paralysis, we have the patient to receive stimulation 3 times per week, and in each time they receive the stimulation plus rehabilitation for 1 hour.
1 hour,
right.
3 times a week. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I think I haven't answered you another question, right? So what patients we are targeting? So for a spinal study upper limb, we are targeting at patient having spinal cord injury from C2 to T1. And we are trying to recruit patients with even complete spinal cord injury.
Okay. So even with complex spinal cord injury,
right, from C2 to T2, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And we are looking for patients with chronic injury. Chronic injury means they are either 6 or 12 months after injury, or their injury is already stable.
Okay. Chronic injury. Yeah. Okay. How large would you estimate the patient population is for this device? Roughly how many sufferers from this condition are out there?
So we do look into the number of patients both in the US and in the European countries. So in the US, there are around 300,000 chronic ACI patients. In every year, there are around 18,000 new patients per year.
Okay. Have you, in terms of founding the company, as we discussed, your mother said, don't take the easy road, take the hard road. Developing, building, starting a medical device company is not for the faint of heart. What are the biggest challenges you've faced building this company?
That's a good question. So one very small story that I would love to share with you briefly. So when I first started the company, actually even before I started the company, the first question I asked myself is, I want to build a product or I want to build a company? You know that building a product, right, and selling and building a company is quite different. And I decided that we should build a company, not the product. And when you start to build a company, right, not just product is one of the issue. You have to deal with the people issue, right? And then when you have only 2 people and we grow to 5, 10, 20, you have different all kinds of issues. And now we need to deal with our people issues, production issues, manufacturing issues, supply chain issues, and also take up a clinical trial. I think everything is not easy, but I just need to be patient and take the right steps and effectively to solve all the problems one by one.
Yeah, that's great. If the trial goes well and you meet your endpoints, and it sounds like you're just anecdotal evidence and short-term evidence that we see the impact on patients, I have every confidence it will. What do you think in terms of commercialization? How long out is that, or how far away would that be?
Yeah, so to bring a medical device to the market, clinical trial is part of it, right? Then after that, we'll need to do our regulatory submission. And then we have been closely work with FDA during the past years. So after the trial is done, we will do our de novo submission. And based on my understanding, it might take FDA 75 days to do the first review, and they will come back to us if they have any questions. And we are expecting that we'll do our submission the first half of 2025.
Okay.
But one interesting part is we know that we learn a lot from other people's experience. So in order to make sure that we are doing a clinical trial in the right way or the best way, actually we have a conversation with FDA for more than 8 or 9 months to discuss our clinical trial protocol with them. So luckily we got the legally binding agreement with FDA so that we start our clinical study with their blessing.
Yeah. It doesn't happen overnight, but it seems like you can see down the horizon and see a day when it's coming.
Finger crossed.
My audience is primarily sales and sales support individuals in the neuromodulation space, but there are others. I mean, there's other folks that work in industry that listen as well. But if someone's listening to this and thinking, that sounds like a really interesting company I want to put on my radar, and when they are ready to commercialize, I'd like to join, or at least have a chat with them. What kinds of physicians are treating this disease state? Where are these patients going now? What kinds of doctors are they interacting with on a regular basis? Who's seeing them and managing their rather complex medical condition right now with spinal cord injury?
Yeah, the patient might see their PT, OT, and the PMR doctor. And I know that some of the hospital that we are working with, they might also have a special team to work with the patient with ACI, because not only mobility, right? The patient might have bladder bowel issues. So sometimes they have a team to work with the patients. But most of the time, patients see their PTOT and PMR doctors.
And I heard you also on a podcast called Unite to Fight Paralysis.
Yes.
Curecast. Is that your company's podcast, or were you a guest on that one?
Oh, I'm a guest on that one.
Okay.
So Unite to Fight Paralysis is a patient advocacy group.
Got it. Great. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like our audience to know about Aneuvo, about the future of your company, about Exostem, or anything else as we wrap up our conversation? It's been fantastic, by the way. Thank you for being on. But any closing thoughts or comments on the outlook of your company?
Yeah. So one, I would like to use this opportunity to kind of share a little bit about our vision about Aneuvo. So as I mentioned, so we are not trying to build a product, we are building a company, and we are kind of in the growth phase right now. So using this opportunity, I would love to reach out to kind of speak with the audience that we are a growing company. And if you guys are interested in joining us or learn more about us, please feel free to reach out to us. And we are looking for talents to join our team so that we can grow together.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. Before we wrap up, what kind of individuals are you looking for at this point? Engineers, scientists, researchers?
Yeah.
Probably not in the need of commercial folks yet, but who else? And also, I heard you'd like to make it known far and wide that you're enrolling patients for your trial, too.
Right. We are looking for, I would say, at current stage, we're not looking for sales for sure, but we are looking for scientists, engineers, and people who have rich clinical and research experience as well to join the team.
Terrific. And would they need to have a discipline or a specialty in neuroscience or neurophysiology, or what kind of academic or technical background would you be looking for?
If they have both neuroscience and neuroengineering knowledge, I think that would be fantastic. And we are also trying to find patients to join our clinical study. So this opportunity to help us to kind of promote our clinical study so that we can get the sufficient number of patients and wrap it up on time.
That's terrific. Well, you're doing important work, Dr. Lowe, and I thank you for taking some time away from it to join our audience on the Chase MedSearch podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Chase MedSearch podcast. I hope that you gained some helpful insight from today's episode. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes, and give us a like on your favorite streaming platform. It really helps grow our audience. For more information on Chase MedSearch, visit our website at chasemedsearch.com. Thanks again for joining us. Until next time, I'm Jordan Chase, and this has been the Chase MedSearch podcast.